الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. اللهم انفعنا بما علمتنا وعلمنا ما ينفعنا وزدنا علما وعملا بفضلك يا أرحم الراحمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Jazakumullah khairan for taking your time out to join the 10th lesson of our Tafsir course. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make this lesson beneficial for everyone and allow me to deliver it to the best of my ability. Ameen Ya Rabbal Alameen. Okay, so today inshallah we'll be covering Surah Humaza. Yes, brother Abdullah, the messages are coming through now. I just change on the settings. So last week we did cover some parts of Surah Humaza. Inshallah, today we'll be going over the remaining parts of Surah Humaza. Now, the first topic we'll be covering, inshallah, today will be the cause of revelation. So, why was Surah Humaza revealed? As you can see on the screen, the three names mentioned there: Umayyah ibn Khalaf, Walid ibn Mughira, and Akhnas ibn Shariq. So, this surah was revealed regarding these three individuals. So these individuals, they would backbite, mock, and slander Prophet ﷺ and the believers and the Sahaba and everyone. And some of them had the courage, okay, they had the courage to come in front of our Prophet ﷺ and mock him directly as well. So in this surah, we will cover three evil characteristics mentioned in this surah. They are slandering, backbiting, and hoarding and accumulating lots of wealth out of greed. The next topic where we'll be speaking about today, inshallah, is Huququl Ibad, the rights of people. Before we speak about that, Surah Humaza, it promises a severe punishment for those people who commit these three sins. Okay, because these three sins are very severe in nature, hence the punishment is equally severe as well. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us from these sins. Ameen Ya Rabbal Alameen. So, Huququl Ibad, the rights of people. We have mentioned already this in our previous surahs, one of our previous surahs. There's two types of rights, okay? One is huququllah, the rights of Allah. For example, praying salah, giving zakah once a year, going for hajj once in a lifetime. These are rights of Allah. Now, if we leave one of the rights of Allah out, only Allah can forgive us. Do you understand? And it's up to Allah. He's the most forgiving. If He forgives you, He forgives you. If He doesn't, then He doesn't. The second one, the one which we're speaking about today, is huquq al-ibad, the rights of people. For example, returning a loan. Just imagine someone gave you some money to borrow, and now you have to give it back. That's a huquq al-ibad. You have to give it back. If you don't give it back, you can't ask Allah for forgiveness. Okay, that's Allah's right. The rights of people, you have the person ask him for forgiveness. If the person has passed away and you couldn't return the item back or whatever, then give some charity on their behalf or look for the family members and give it back to the family. Now, what did our Prophet say regarding the heart of the believer? Listen to this carefully, that once the Prophet was doing tawaf, yeah? So he was doing tawaf of the Holy Kaaba. Whilst doing tawaf, he addressed the Kaaba. Yes, he spoke to the Kaaba and he said, "You are very important and honored. Or shall I tell you who is more sacred and who is more honored than you?" The Prophet he replied, obviously the Kaaba wasn't speaking, he's just speaking to the Kaaba. He told the Kaaba that the person or he who is more sacred than you is the heart of a believer. So this means that it is far worse of a crime to break a believer's heart in comparison to breaking the Kaaba. Okay, it's worse of a crime to break a believer's heart than breaking the Kaaba. So remember, if you have wronged someone, if you have taken someone's right, you give it back on this earth. If you don't, you will have to give it back on the day of judgment. And we did speak about that in one of our previous surahs, that some people on the day of judgment, they will see a line waiting for them. Okay, when they go to the mizan, when they go to the weighing scale, before they can weigh the good and bad, they see a line waiting for them, and in that line people will come and say, oh Allah, this person did this to me, oh Allah, this person stole from me, oh Allah, this person called me this, oh Allah, this person owes me this. And you have to pay them back, not with money, not with wealth or anything. You have to pay them back with your good deeds. Slowly, slowly your good deeds will fade away, and the line hasn't still finished. How do you pay them back now? You have to take their sins. So حقوق العباد, if you owe anyone or if you have wronged anyone's rights, then do fix it in this world. Don't wait for it, as it is not worth it, and you will have to give something back on the day of judgment. Now, moving on to the next part, which is what is mocking, what is the root cause for mocking others. So one of the three sins mentioned in the surah, okay, is mocking. Now, what is the root cause for mocking people? Why do people mock others? Now, mocking people comes from a spiritual illness known as pride. Okay, we spoke about this when we did this surah last lesson, that mocking comes from a spiritual illness known as pride. When a person he mocks someone, is because he feels or she feels that they are better than the person they are mocking. Okay, that could be in terms of wealth, in terms of education or status. You understand? And Allah says in the Quran, إِنَّهُ لَا يُحِبُّ الْمُفْسِدِينَ, that He, Allah, does not love the arrogant. He doesn't like the arrogant, nor will He ever like those who are arrogant, those who have pride, those who have ego. So mocking starts from there. And in a hadith Qudsi are those hadith that are Allah's words, that are not mentioned in the Quran, they are Allah's words. So hadith Qudsi, Allah says that pride, majesty, and highness is my upper garment, and dignity and honor is my lower garment. Whoever tries to snatch any one of these two, I will throw him or I will throw her into hell. So remember that. Okay. Also, the Prophet said that no one in whose heart there is pride, the weight of an atom, will enter Jannah. Okay. So if you have pride in you, even though the pride is so small, okay, small like an atom, you will still not enter Jannah. And it goes further on that if you mock someone regarding their appearance, okay, if you mock someone regarding the way they look, regarding the way the shape of the nose is, or how they talk, or how they walk, okay, if you mock someone regarding their appearance, then you are mocking Allah, because Allah is the designer, okay, Allah is al-musawwir, Allah is the fashioner, the designer. If you are mocking his design, if you are mocking the creation, then you are mocking Allah without realizing. Allah is the one who created the person with such a nose. Allah is the one who created the person to walk like that. So if you do mock someone, then you are mocking Allah. So remember that. That's the end of our first slide. Does anyone have any questions on this slide? Anything you haven't understood, you want me to repeat it, do let me know, inshallah. If not, inshallah, we can move on. Okay, so the three characteristics that we spoke about, one is backbiting, one is slandering, mocking, slandering, and the third one is accumulating or amassing lots of wealth out of greed. Okay, we're going to speak about wealth and those who gather so much wealth out of greed. Okay, now moving on to our next slide. Our next slide is, what is the difference between backbiting and slandering? Okay, what is the difference between backbiting and slandering? So once the Prophet he asked the Sahaba, yes, he said, do you know what backbiting is? And the Sahaba they replied, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his messenger know best. Okay. Then he asked them, when you say something about your brother that he dislikes, okay, the Prophet said, when you say something about your brother that he dislikes, then the Sahaba asked, what if what I say about my brother is true? The Prophet said, if what you have said is true, then you have backbited. And if what you say is not true, then you have slandered him. So the difference between backbiting and slandering is, if you say something, if you speak about ill about someone behind your back, even if it's true, then it's backbiting. If it's not true, then it's slandering. Nowadays, the sad reality is that people, it's become common for us to backbite, and people go beyond backbiting, we go to slandering as well. And social media has made this even worse. Okay, people just forward messages without any verification. Okay, so remember, if someone forwards a message to you, before you forward it, think. Okay, you don't know if this is true. And the example I'll give you is, just say imagine in Ramadan, a person in Ramadan, afternoon time, he's eating in a restaurant, yeah, and someone has taken a picture saying, look, this person is not fasting. Okay, this person is such a bad Muslim. That's backbiting. Such a bad Muslim, he's not fasting in the month of Ramadan. He looks so healthy, he looks like he's in his late 20s. And now this video and this message is going around WhatsApp, and you are part of the chain, you're forwarding it around, yes, without any verification, without even finding out why he's not fasting, you will also get that sin as well. What if this person is not fasting because he has a illness that he has to take medication every few hours? And then you might say, then why doesn't he eat in his car? Why doesn't he eat at home? What if he's working far from home and he has to eat somewhere local to his work? Do you understand? There are people like that. So before you forward any messages, before you forward any videos or anything on WhatsApp or any social media, think about it. Is it beneficial? You don't want to be caught up into this chain of sin. Okay, the person who starts this chain of forwarding gets the most sin, but anyone who joins onto this chain will also get sin as well. Now, the remedy for backbiting, a breakdown of stages and steps mentioned in the Quran. So Allah has given us a breakdown of stages and steps in the Quran, okay, as a remedy to stop us from backbiting, inshallah. So this can be found in Surah Hujurat. Okay, in Surah Hujurat, Allah mentions it in 3 stages. Okay, Allah first says, يا أيها الذين آمنوا اجتنبوا كثيرا من الظن إن بعض الظن إثم. Okay, Allah says, "O you who believe, avoid suspicion. Verily, some suspicions are sins." So it starts off by having bad thoughts, having ill thoughts about someone. Okay, just like the example I gave, someone in the restaurant in Ramadan eating. Already, you look at him, and before you could think good, you think bad. Like, Astaghfirullah, how can he do this? How can she do this? This bad thought leads to suspicion. You think, oh, this person is healthy and he's not fasting. The next part, Allah says, وَلَا تَجَسَّسُوا, and do not spy. Okay? When a person sees someone doing something wrong, you see that person doing something wrong, you go a bit closer to find out, okay, what is he doing? And everything. You're spying now. You're looking for faults. And the next part is, وَلَا يَغْتَبْ بَعْضُكُمْ بَعْضًا, and do not backbite each other. And the end result is you end up backbiting. So the first step is, don't have ill thoughts and bad thoughts about someone. Okay? That will lead to suspicion. Then you will try to go and spy on that person to look for faults, and then you will end up backbiting. It advises in Islam that we should think good of every situation. Like, even if you see someone walking and you see someone picking up money, picking up a wallet, don't think, astaghfirullah, this person is stealing. What if this person has picked this money up because he saw the owner drop it and he is chasing the owner to give the money back? You understand? If you just imagine Dhuhr Salah in your masjid is at 1:30, yeah? And you see a brother with a full beard walking past the masjid, he's not going into the masjid. Don't say Astaghfirullah. What if this brother has already prayed in another masjid where Dhuhr was at 1:15? How do you know? You understand? So only think good of the situation. Think, you know what? Probably the brother has already prayed. Probably the brother has uh, uh, prayed at home, or probably the brother's going to pray later. Okay? Don't think, oh, astaghfirullah, he's just walking past the masjid, it's Dhuhr time. No. Only think good of situations, unless you know definitely that this person is healthy and he's not fasting, or this person is just not praying. Okay? Then it's different. So remember, the first thing we avoid is bad thoughts. If we avoid these bad thoughts, inshallah, then we won't have any suspicion towards anything, and we won't need to spy, and it won't lead to backbiting. Okay, sorry. Which verse? Yeah, verse number 12. Jazakallah, Brother Abdullah. Yes, verse number 12 in Surah Hujurat. Surah Hujurat is a very amazing surah, inshallah. If we have time later on, we should go over Surah Hujurat. Surah Hujurat teaches you social life and how to live as a human being, how to conduct yourself with everyone, and it teaches you a lot of life lessons. Also, the Prophet ﷺ, yes, Allah actually, He has likened backbiting to eating the flesh, like eating the flesh of your own brother. Okay, backbiting is like eating the flesh of your dead brother. Imagine that. That's how evil backbiting is. So it starts off with spiritual illness such as bad thoughts. Okay, so always it makes you think negative about others. Okay, it will make you think negative about others, and you won't be happy about others' success. And like that, this illness, okay, it grows into you. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from such illnesses. And some people, they fall into backbiting unintentionally, okay, due to their friends or family circle. Sometimes you go to speak to your friends and you just find them talking about others. What you do then is you tell them to stop. If they don't stop, then you leave that gathering. If you're in that gathering and you listen to people backbiting, then you will also be sinful. Okay, you either tell them to stop or you leave that gathering. Now, those who backbite, yes, there is a punishment in the grave as well. So once the Prophet ﷺ was walking in the alleyways of Medina with the Sahaba, and they reached two graves. Okay, they were walking in the alleyways of Medina and they reached two graves. The Prophet he stopped and said, "Indeed, these two people are being punished, and they are not being punished because of something difficult to avoid. They are not being punished for something very big or something hard to avoid. They are being punished for very small things. One of them is being punished for urine droplets. When he goes to the toilet, he doesn't take care of his urine droplets. They go onto his clothes, and the other one is being punished because he eavesdrops. Okay, he listens to what people are talking about, and he's spying on people. He's listening to other people's conversation and stuff like that. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us from such sins, such spiritual illnesses. Okay, these are illnesses of the heart. Okay, we need to stop them, and we need to stop these and take these out of our life. Okay, if you see anyone backbiting, you just tell them to stop, or you stop yourself. Now, it could happen to someone you don't even know. Imagine you're talking about someone you don't know. Backbiting is not just about Muslims, even non-Muslims as well. You can't backbite about any creation of Allah. Now, the third thing we will speak about on this slide is hoarding wealth. Okay, so hoarding wealth is the third evil characteristic mentioned in the surah, is when a person gathers a lot of wealth out of excessive greed. Now, you can make lots of money, it's fine, but if your intention is to just make lots of money and you get greedy and greedy, and then it becomes a sin. And a person who counts it regularly and has no intention to spend it in the path of Allah, he doesn't want to give zakah. Okay, this is very bad because rich people, they think that they are untouchable. Okay, okay, they think that they can mock people, they think they can look down on people because they're rich now, they don't need anyone. Okay, they think that the money will live with them forever. They think that when they die, this money will help them in the grave. No, it won't. You can have a Lamborghini, you can have a Nissan Micra, you can have any car. This car won't take you to Jannah. This car won't go in the grave with you. A rich person and a poor person, they look the same when they're in the shroud. When a person dies and they are shrouded with the white cloth, a rich person and a poor person, a cleaner and a billionaire, they look exactly the same. Okay? The only thing that goes in with you is your deeds, your good deeds and your bad deeds. Your wealth and everything is left on this earth. All that wealth you are desperate to make more and more money, buy more and more cars and properties. That's all left on this earth and is given to your heirs, your children, your wife. So remember, don't make money your main priority on this earth. Okay? Obviously, you need to make money. You need to earn a living. Okay? after your job or whatever you've earned, if it's enough for you, then use the rest of the time for your family, to get close to your creator, doing worship and stuff like that. Not just wanting to make money all day. Okay, hungry, all you think about is money. You wake up and you think about money. Okay, you go to the shopping, you don't want to spend too much because you're thinking about money. All this money, if you don't spend it on your family, yourself, then what's the use of it? What if you earn 100,000, 200,000 pounds and you die the next day, right? What's the point of earning so much money if you haven't spent on yourself, if you haven't treated yourself, if you haven't spent on your family? What's the point of earning so much money? Income is wanting to make a lot of money permissible. But wanting to make a lot of money is permissible as long as it doesn't prevent you from your religious obligations, such as salah. Imagine someone who's wanting to make so much money that he forgets to perform salah. Or he's at work all day that he doesn't perform salah at all. Okay, then it becomes wrong. Or zakah, that you become so rich, you don't want to give zakah anymore. Like billionaires, the zakah might be 1 million. Yes, it's only 1/40. Okay, 1/40 of your earnings, not much. Nor does it make you do unlawful things like cheating on people. Okay, some people, they cheat on people. Okay, when they sell, yes, they sell items with defects and they don't let the other person know. So if you cheat on people or if you do scams or stuff like that, then wanting to make a lot of money becomes impermissible. Now remember this, okay, clear that no matter what, how much you're meant to make, imagine Allah has written your sustenance is, imagine, say, £100,000. You will earn £100,000. Now you can do in the haram way or you can do in the halal way. You can do scams, you can do fraudulent activities, you can do scams and earn the £100,000. Now you won't get it back the halal way. So that £2,000 you get by uh, picking it up from someone's pocket, you would have got the £2,000 anyway, the halal way. You just took it the haram way. No matter what, you can work hard, you can work extra, you can steal, you can do drugs. You're always gonna earn the same amount of money Allah has written for you. You can do it the halal way, you can do the haram way, you can pick. And one, love wealth. Okay, are you allowed to love wealth? Yes, you are allowed to love wealth. Yes, but remember, it can't take over your life. Okay, it shouldn't be the main priority. When we finish this slide, sister and brothers, I'll answer your questions if you have any questions. A scholar said that it's a very amazing example. So listen to this carefully. A scholar said that wealth, yes, is like money is like a ship sailing in the river. Imagine a ship sailing in the river. Now the ship will sail as long as the water doesn't enter it. So your heart is like that. Your heart is the ship, and your heart is sailing on money. Okay, you need money, right? It's like the ship needs the water to sail on. There's no point of putting a ship on dry land. It's not going to sail. The ship needs the water to sail on. It's just using the water to sail on until it can get to the other side. Your heart is the ship sailing on money. You need the money to get some food, to pay for your bills, to pay for your rent, okay, to eat, okay, to pay for these costs and everything, to buy clothes and stuff like that. As soon as the water goes into the ship will sink. As soon as the money goes into the heart will sink. Okay, remember that. Remember this example. It's a very amazing example. And the last point is, what did the Prophet ﷺ say about wealth? Now, I forgot to mention another saying of a scholar is that a scholar said that, wealth and worldly things is like a shadow. Listen to this carefully. Wealth and worldly materialistic things like going after cars, going after big houses, mansions, and stuff like that, and going after the most expensive watch like a Rolex or these shoes or these type of branded clothes or whatever. All of these are like your shadow. You can chase it, but you can never catch it. It's like a shadow. You can chase it, but you will never catch it. Worldly things are like that. The more you get, the more you have, the more hungry you are. You just want more and more. You can never chase it and be satisfied. However, if you run away from it, just like a shadow, if you run away from it, the shadow will always chase you. It's money and wealth from Allah. Yes, it will come behind you and it will follow you. So don't chase it. Run away from it and you will see it will run back into your pocket. So what did the Prophet say about wealth? A person said that If a man owns one valley of gold, yes, he would love to own a second. Nothing will fill his mouth except the sand of the grave. If you have £1 million, you would want to earn more. You'll never be satisfied with money. Money will never fill you up. Money will never ever fill you up. Okay? So the more you make, the more you would want. Okay, you see celebrities and football players nowadays, how much they get paid. They get paid like £500,000 a week. When they go to a different football team, they want £550,000 a week, £600,000 a week, and these people are earning 500,000, and they're still trying to get away with taxes. Understand? Money never fills you up. You just want more and more and more. The only thing that will fill you up, the Prophet said, is the sand in the grave when you are buried. So we spoke about hoarding wealth. If there's any questions, I will answer inshallah. Okay. If listening to others' conversation in order to rule out the lies of someone, is it still a sin? No. So, firstly, if you know that they're talking about someone, then you can go and tell them. But randomly, if you're just spying on someone or just eavesdropping, then it's a sin. Okay. If you know that if you, just say, for example, you're in class, you're doing your work, and you overheard them, obviously they're speaking loud, you overheard them speaking about someone, then you can tell them. If you purposely just go behind them, behind the wall, and you're listening, then it's a sin. Okay. There's no point of you listening. There's no benefit at all. Yes, but if you're there and obviously you can't help yourself and you listen, then it's different. Now, moving on, inshallah, to our surah. So, so today we spoke about many sins, the sins and the lesson we can take, inshallah. وَيْلٌ لِكُلِّ هُمَزَةٍ. Anyone know the other surah? Surah Humaza, another surah that starts off with wail. What is the other surah that starts off with this word? Wail. Wail means destruction. Anyone know? There's another surah in Juz number 30 that starts off with wail. MashaAllah, brother Abdullah, Surah Mutaffifin. Wailul lil Mutaffifin. So from the 114 surahs, okay, two surahs they start off with wail. Wail means destruction. Wailul likulli humazatil lumaza and wailul lil mutaffifin. And both of them are directly relating to the rights of people. Both of them speak about the rights of people. Now, what is this verse trying to say? Destruction be to every backbiter and insulter. Okay. Imam Ghazali, he says that Humaza is backbiting via body parts. For example, with your eyes or with your hands, doing gestures, backbiting with your eyes or with your hands or with body parts. And Lumaza is verbally backbiting. That's what Imam Ghazali says. Okay, Humaza is backbiting with via body parts, through hand gestures, or through nodding, or through showing, obviously, maybe showing something with your hand. Okay, backbiting with your body parts, and Lumaza is backbiting verbally. So Allah says destruction to every backbiter and insulter. Remember, Allah speaking about the three people, okay, Umayy ibn Khalaf and the other two. Allah speaking about them because they would speak ill, they would backbite about the Prophet and the Sahaba, and some of them had the courage to do it in front of his face as well. We spoke about backbiting. We spoke about how it starts from. Can anyone remind me how it starts from? What did Surah Hujurat, verse number 12, how does it start? It starts off with by having what? Bad thoughts, mashallah. From bad thoughts, it leads to suspicion. Okay? From suspicion, it leads to spying. And from spying, it leads to backbiting. As soon as you have an evil thought of someone, stop. Don't go over your fence to see if they're actually doing that. Okay, don't backbite. Okay? Remember that. Delete that evil thought straight away. We spoke about the remedy and everything. The next verse, Allah says, الَّذِي جَمَعَ مَالًا وَعَدَّدَ, who gathers wealth and counts it. So this verse refers to that person who holds wealth, who accumulates lots of wealth with evil intention. Okay? And he keeps counting it. وَعَدَّدَ, he keeps counting every day, he keeps counting it. Why? To see Has he made anything extra? Has anything gone missing? All he cares about is money, money, money. Now, hoarding wealth, yes, is wrong for the following reasons. Number one, if you don't pay zakat on it. You know, when millions, billionaires, they make so much money, they don't pay the zakat properly. Because if zakat was paid, there will be no poor people on this earth. Look at in Saudi Arabia, look at these Arab countries. There's billionaires and billionaires. Okay, they're buying football clubs, doing so much with their money. If they pay their zakat can feed a full country, if not more than a country. But because they're not paying the zakat properly, that's why there's a lot of poverty in the Muslim countries. And if everyone paid the zakat properly, there would be less stealing because poor people they have to sometimes end up stealing because they don't have food. If they were paid zakat properly, they wouldn't have to steal. So a lot of sins, a lot of evil is taken out if people pay the zakat properly. Some people try to dodge the zakat. This is how they dodge taxes. The second reason why hoarding wealth is wrong is because people become proud and they get arrogant that I made this much money. Okay, I'm a millionaire now. Okay, who are you to speak to me like that? I have money. They think money talks. Okay, if you keep saying that, I can get this done. I can get this done to you. Okay, I have money. You have no right to say that. Okay, I can just buy this out. Okay, uh, people with money they think they can control this earth. And another one is they love money so much that it leads them to neglecting religious obligations. They don't pray salah out up all night making money and then they forget to pray Fajr. Okay, throughout the day, they're not praying no Salah. They're not fasting in the month of Ramadan. Okay, they're not giving the family the rights. Okay, they're not looking after the children properly. They just want money, money, and money, and they keep they're so obsessed with it that they keep counting it. So this is what makes it evil. If you just make lots of money, you have a happy life, okay, and you're praying your Salah, you're giving your family the time, everything, then it's fine. يحسب أن ماله أخلد. He thinks that his wealth will make him live forever. Okay? People who are collecting so much wealth are often deceived. Yes, they fail to remember that their wealth will finish one day. Yes, the day they die, that £50,000 or that Lamborghini or that Rolex is not theirs anymore. That £50,000, that Lamborghini, whatever they have is not theirs anymore. He has someone else's name over it, whether the son or the daughters or the grandchildren or the wife or the father, whoever. So remember that wealth is temporary, just like this world is temporary and our life is temporary, wealth is also temporary as well. The best investment you can make is the investment of the hereafter. Okay, making a masjid, like seize the charity, making a masjid, building a education for poor people, funding education for poor people. So when they go and they study, or someone comes to this masjid or the school you funded, they're going to make dua for you. While you're in your grave, 100 years, 200, 300 years, 500 years later, you're still making reward. These are the investments you should be making. One day when you leave this temporary world, yes, your money and everything will come to an end. Okay, everything would go with you to your grave, but everything would return besides your deeds. That's the only thing that stays with you, your deeds, your good deeds or your bad deeds. So remember that. Okay. And like I said, you can't tell the difference between a person who's poor and rich. Okay. When you look at that person, you can't tell if they're poor or rich. You're not gonna be shrouded in gold. Likewise, when you go to Umrah, everyone's wearing ihram. Everyone looks the same. In the sight of Allah, we are all the same. Whether we are a millionaire, whether if we are the Imam of Mecca, doesn't matter. Allah doesn't look at our wealth or appearance or our lineage. Allah doesn't look at that. Allah looks at our heart and our deeds. You can be the Imam's son. You can be the Sheikh of Mecca, his son. It doesn't mean that you're going to be good. You can be the son of or the daughter of an alcoholic man. It doesn't mean you're going to be bad. Look at the examples of Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. His father was what? An idol worshipper, idol carver, idol seller. But look at his son. Came out to be Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, one of the best and art prophets. Look at Prophet Nuh. His wife didn't accept his message. After 950 years, his wife, his son, they didn't accept the message. They died in the flood. Okay? So you can't blame your father, you can't blame your children, you can't blame anyone. Okay? And the next verse is كلا لينبذن في الحطمة. We'll do verse 4, 5, and 6 together. Before we move on, is I would like to speak a bit about more money. About money is one of the root of all evil. Sometimes people they go to extreme measures just to make extra money. They cheat on people. Okay, they steal. Even even it goes down to like money even breaks like close relationships. Okay, brothers they argue with each other. Brothers they even go to the extent of killing each other. Okay, just to make extra money. And when a person passes away, the wealth is distributed to the children. People, the elder siblings will fight with the younger siblings. I want to take this much. No, Allah has already fixed it for you. So remember, money is temporary, your life is temporary. Prepare yourself for death at all times. No point working all day and night, and you are not guaranteed that you live for the next day or the next hour. Work for as many hours as you need to survive. After that, work on your hereafter. Work on your family, like that. And Allah makes people rich as a test. Don't think you become a millionaire or you make so much money because you're successful or you're good at making money. No, it's a test from Allah. Allah wants to see what you do with that wealth. Would you give lots of charity? Okay. Okay. Does this wealth make you arrogant? To see if your wealth becomes a blessing for you or it becomes a misfortune for you. What you do with that wealth. Okay. Do you build hand pumps? Do you build water pumps for people in poor countries? What do you do with that wealth? Okay. Last thing before we move on to verse number 4 is that remember when we came to this earth, a baby comes to this earth crying, and those around the baby, the mother, the father, they're all smiling, right? The baby cries, and the mother and the father, the grandparents around, they're all smiling. You need to leave the world in the opposite way. When you die, people will cry. Your parents, your children, your family, they will cry. You should be smiling because you are prepared to meet Allah. When a baby comes to this earth, he cries. Okay, it's natural for a baby to cry. And his family, his mom, dad, grandparents, brother, everyone's happy. And the opposite is when you die. When you die, you shouldn't be scared. You shouldn't be crying because you should be happy and ready to meet Allah. Your family will cry. Only if you give your utmost best and you try your best on this earth. Okay, give lots of charity when you're healthy. The Prophet said that a person on the deathbed, if they give £100 or £200, it's nothing because you don't need that money anymore. You're on your deathbed now. Charity is more rewarding if you give it whilst you're healthy because you can do something with it. Now, there's no point of me as a millionaire giving £1 million because I'm on my deathbed now. The doctor said you have 1 hour to live. There's no point now because I don't need that money anymore. Charity is better when you need the money or when you have the money, when you can use the money, but you thought, you know what? I will give it to charity. Verse number 4, 5, and 6, we want to do together. أَلَّا لَيُنبَذَنَّ فِي الْحُطَمَةِ. Never he will be flung into the crushing fire. وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا الْحُطَمَةِ. And do you have any idea what the crushing fire is? نَارُ اللَّهِ الْمُوقَدَةِ. It is Allah's kindled fire. Verse 4, 5, and 6 is regarding Jahannam. A person said that the fire of Jahannam, please write this down, the fire of Jahannam was kindled for 1,000 years until it became red. Then another 1,000 years until it became white. Then another 1,000 years until it became black. So the fire of Jahannam has been kindled for 3,000 years. After the first 1,000 years, it became red. Then another 1,000 years, it became white. Then another 1,000 years, it became black. Right now, the fire of Jahannam is black. It is 70 times hotter than the fire of this earth. We can't even touch the fire of this earth. The fire of Jahannam is 70 times hotter. Does anyone know how deep Jahannam is? How deep is Jahannam? Anyone? Sorry, sister. So, yes, all are 1,000 years. So after the first 1,000 years, it became red. And after the second 1,000 years, it became white. And after the third 1,000 years, it became black. So 3,000 years altogether. It turned from red to white to black. And the fire of Jahannam is 70 times hotter than the fire on this earth. Does anyone know how deep Jahannam is? How deep is Jahannam? Anyone? That's fine. Jahannam is so deep that if you were to throw a stone from the top, it'll take 70 years to reach the bottom. Remember this and write this down, that Jahannam is so deep, okay, that if you throw a stone or a rock from the top of Jahannam, it will take 70 years for it to reach the bottom. Imagine that. That's how deep Jahannam is. Jahannam is so hot. Jahannam itself, it complained to Allah regarding its heat. Hence, Allah lets you breathe twice, once in the summer and once in the winter. That's why we find it so hot in the summer. You know why we find it so hot in the summer? Is because Jahannam has taken a breath out. Jahannam has breathed out all his heat. And in the winter, Jahannam breathes in. That's why we find it very cold. Okay, if you didn't know about that, you can write this down. Jahannam complained about his heat. Hence, Allah let it take 2 breaths. One breath in, it breathes out in summer. That's why we find it very hot. And it breathes in winter. That's why we find it very cold. Okay, so I just said some hadith regarding Jahannam. There's much more things about Jahannam. We can go into more depth, but obviously time doesn't allow. But Jahannam is so big, by the way, that Jahannam has 70,000 ropes. 70,000 ropes. Each rope has 70,000 angels pulling it. They'll pull it to Allah on the day of judgment. And it will scream, it will screech, it will shout, it will say, fill me up more and more. Okay? You will want more. You will say, يَوْمَ نَقُولُ لِجَهَنَّمَ هَلِ امْتَلَأْتِ وَتَقُولُ هَلْ مِن مَزِيدٍ. Okay? Jahannam will want more people. Allah will say, on that day, we will say to Jahannam, are you filled? What will Jahannam say? وَتَقُولُ هَلْ مِن مَزِيدٍ. He will say, are there more? It's like a hungry creature. You just want more and more. He will wrap us up. For those who will go into Jahannam, he will wrap you up from every angle, every side. He will wrap you up. Any questions on Jahannam, anyone? Before we move on, you want me to repeat anything? If I want to fast, I can repeat any descriptions of Jahannam. So Jahannam is very deep. Okay, so I'll just mention it again. So Jahannam fire has been kindled for 3,000 years. And after 1,000 years, it became red. After another 1,000 years, it became white. And after another 1,000 years, it became black. It's 70 times hotter than this earth fire. 70, it will take 70 years for a rock thrown from the top of Jahannam to reach the bottom. And Jahannam complained to Allah regarding his heat, so Allah let it breathe 2 times. Once in summer it breathes out, once in winter it breathes in. That's why it's very hot in summer and very cold in winter. I mentioned another point that Jahannam is so big, on the day of judgment it will be brought to Allah. Jahannam has 70,000 ropes. Each rope will have 70,000 angels. If I remember, there's something like 5.4 billion or something like that, angels pulling Jahannam to Allah. Jahannam will be hungry. It will want more people. Like as mentioned, Allah says, يَوْمَ نَقُولُ لِجَهَنَّمَ هَلِ امْتَلَأْتِ. Allah will say that on that day, we will say to Jahannam, are you filled? And Jahannam will say, وَتَقُولُ هَلْ مِن مَزِيدٍ. Are there more? He wants more. Moving on to the last 3 verses, we'll read them together, inshallah. Allah says, الَّتِي تَطَّلِعُ عَلَى الْأَفْئِدَةِ, which penetrates into the hearts. The fire will penetrate into the hearts of those who go to Jahannam. إِنَّهَا عَلَيْهِمْ مُؤْصَدَةٌ. It will certainly be locked in over them. فِي عَمَدٍ مُمَدَّدَةٍ. In extended pillars. So, looking at verse number 7, Allah says, which penetrates into the hearts. So write this down, that the flames of the fire will rise and take over the full body, including the heart. The fire in this world kills a person before it reaches the heart. You know that, right? You know, on this earth, if someone does, if someone, na'udhu inshallah, it doesn't happen to anyone, but someone's house is on fire and they do die in that fire, they will die before the fire reaches the heart. However, in Jahannam, its flames will go into you and it will burn your heart as well. Okay? Whilst you are alive, imagine your heart being burned. That's what happens in Jahannam. Whilst you are alive, your heart is being burnt. Now, from all of our organs, Allah chose the heart as a point of punishment. Allah could have said any other body part, but He chose our heart. Why? Because according to scholars, it is the most delicate part of a body. and it feels the greatest pain. Our heart feels the greatest pain, and it's the most delicate part of our body. Hence, Allah chose that, and Allah is going to give that punishment. Whilst you're alive, your heart will be on fire. Verse number 8, Allah says, "Innaha alayhim muqsada." It will certainly be locked in over them. That this fire will seal you. It will seal its occupants. It will trap you. Okay, it will trap you from all sides. Okay, in another verse, Allah says, "Indeed, those who have disbelieved in our verses, we shall certainly make them every time the skins are roasted through, we shall give them other skins in their place, mighty and all wise." Jahannam is like that in Jahannam. Surah Naba, فَذُوقُوا, so taste, فَلَن نَزِيدَكُمْ إِلَّا عَذَابًا, that we shall not increase you in nothing besides punishment. Monday is really bad. Tuesday gets worse. Wednesday gets even worse. Thursday gets worse. Every single day gets worse, 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 and gets worse. This gets more worse and bad and more evil and more hard to bear and take in. That's how Jahannam is. Jannah, on the other hand, it gets better, 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 and better. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us all Jannah and all our family members. Ameen Ya Rabbal Alameen. In one hadith, listen to this, this is very scary. In one hadith, mentions that the skin of the people of Jahannam will be changed 70,000 times a day. Imagine that. 70,000 times a day, a person's skin will be changed by Allah. Because like Allah said in the verse, that their skins will be changed after they are roasted. Up to 70,000 times your skins will be uh, changed. Imagine that. And the last verse, Allah says, "Fi amadin mumaddada," in extended pillars. So this fire will come in extended pillars. The person will be trapped inside a container which is fully blocked. This fire. Their necks will be chained, and they will have no room to move at all. You will have no room to move. This fire will take over you, fully over you. No space to breathe, no space to move. The fire is everywhere, going into your body, going into your heart, burning you alive. And that's just one punishment of Jahannam. The many, many punishments of Jahannam. Fire is something everyone faces in Jahannam. Now, people will be punished for their sins. Someone who's, for example, sinned with the mouth, like we spoke about backbiting, slandering. Most of the sins come from the mouth. The tongue is such a small meat, such a small part of the body, the tongue, but it's used to do so much sin. It's more dangerous than a knife and a sword, the tongue. People who do such sins, the angels will get pliers and rip the mouth open. Okay? Someone who has knowledge and doesn't act upon his knowledge, angels will get boulders and throw it on their head. And the effects will make the boulder go rebound and go so far. Okay, people that are in deal with interest, they will be thrown into a river of blood, and they can't come to the bank. Every time they come to the bank, close to the bank, angels will throw things at them. For every sin, there's a different type of punishment, but everyone will be punished with fire. Not everyone will be punished. Not everyone will be going to Jahannam. Those who obviously go into Jahannam. Okay. Now Jahannam, like I mentioned in Surah 5, Jahannam is like a cleansing session. Okay. Obviously, those people who are good, may Allah make us amongst them, they will go into Jannah straight away. Some people will have to go into Jahannam, and they will have to be cleansed. Okay, just for example, if someone commits a crime, if someone steals from a shop and someone murders someone, it's two different types of crimes. A person who murders someone will be in jail for longer. A person who just stole from a shop might not be in jail for that long. Likewise in Jahannam, once you do your time, then you can come back to Jannah. And look how merciful Allah is, that the last person to enter Jannah, meaning after this person, Jannah will be closed. This is the last person. So he or she must have done the most sins, right? Their Jannah will be 10 times bigger than this earth. Remember, Jahannam is not like a punishment, it's like more of a cleansing session. Like, for example, I'll give you the example that imagine I remember when we were young, we used to go out to play in the muddy fields, you look at dirty and come back. Your mom or dad won't let you just walk into the house like that because you have mud all over your shoes, mud all over your hands. If you touch a wall, you're going to leave some marks on it. So they'll pick you up, they'll take you to the bathroom, they'll clean you, they'll wash you off. When you are clean, then you can walk around the house. Likewise is Jahannam. Allah can't put a sinner into Jahannam. So Allah cleans them, He cleanses them, He gives them a cleansing session, like your mother gave you a cleansing session in the bath, and then she allowed you to walk around, roam around the house freely. Likewise, Allah will give you a cleansing session in Jahannam and let you roam around Jannah freely. Only for those people who have done more sins than good, sister. Okay, so on the day of judgment, those people who are thrown into Jahannam are those people who have done more sins. Okay, you abide by all the rules and all the obligations sent by Allah and everything a person said, then inshallah you should enter Jannah. So that's the end of this the summary of this surah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us, our family, and the Muslim Ummah from the fire of hell. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Before we finish, we just have 3 lessons, inshallah. The lesson number 1 is the sins of the mouth are extremely severe. We need to control our tongue, as it is far more dangerous than a sword. Like I said, there are many reasons why backbiting is a grave sin. So most of our sins are done with the mouth, a small flesh of the body, a small flesh of meat, lying, backbiting, slandering, swearing, accusing someone, okay, false promises, okay, making false testimonies, and the list goes on, okay. And there's a hadith where the Prophet said, "Our tongue pleads to our body pleads to the tongue every day, and our body, our limbs, it pleads and it begs the tongue every day in the morning." And it says that if you are straight, today we will be straight. If you are crooked, we will be crooked as well. Lesson number two is making wealth our main priority. Now, is this allowed? A person who is always looking to increase his or her financial status while by Allah is a failure. Your money will never bring you happiness. Okay, if you have disobeyed Allah, okay, He will give you how much you deserve and how much. The heart is one part of the human, both physically will originate from it. Yes, remember that you have to keep your heart spiritually pure. Okay, from what? From the love of the world, from hatred, from anger, from jealousy, from pride, and stuff like that. Okay, now people spend so much money to keep it physically uh, uh, pure and they don't want to spend on it spiritually at all. Okay, people spend thousands of pounds to cure the heart physically, but do nothing to cure it spiritually. Remember that. Number 4 is stop searching for people's faults. It's not mentioned on the screen, but I'll just tell you. Stop searching for people's faults. When we point at someone, remember, yes, when we point at someone to take their faults out, 3 fingers are being pointed back towards us. When you point at someone, you just put your finger up and point towards the wall. When you point at someone, you're pointing 1 finger towards them, but the 3 fingers facing you. Okay? Think about your own bad habits. Think about your own shortcomings. One who tries to expose someone else's sin, Allah will expose their sins on the day of judgment. Okay? Our Prophet said, whoever covers the faults of a Muslim, Allah will cover his or her faults in this world and in the hereafter. So if you expose someone, okay, Allah will expose you on the day of judgment. Hide someone's faults, and Allah will hide your faults on this world and in the hereafter. Ameen. And ask yourself, the last thing is ask yourself 3 questions before saying or accepting any information. If someone forwards a message to you on WhatsApp, ask yourself, is it true or false? Is it good or bad? And lastly, is it beneficial or useless? If it's useless, if it's bad, if it's false, then leave it. We need to ensure that everything we say is good. If you can't speak good, then it's better for you to remain silent. It's a hadith, the Prophet said, Al-kalimatu tayyiba sadaqah. A good word is charity. Only speak when it will benefit others. If you won't benefit others, if it's going to make things worse, don't speak. It's better for you to be silent. The mouth, that tongue can get you into a lot of trouble. Okay. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to act upon everything that has been taught today. Any question before we wrap the lesson up? Any questions of anything we have covered? If not, then inshallah I'll see you next week inshallah for Surah Asr. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.